guys. So one question that I think a lot of us, as owners of computers and laptops, get often asked, especially when it comes to a certain time of the month, is do we want to update and restart or update and shut down? The reason I bring those questions up is because every second Tuesday of the month, if you have a Windows operating system, whether it's Windows 11 that's operating on it or Windows 10, you'll always ask, when you allow it to update at its time, or maybe if you pause it to a certain amount of time, like maybe for a month, maybe two, eventually, whenever you allow the update to happen, you'll ask whether or not, when it's all said and done, do you want to update and shut down or update and restart? And I've looked up online what would be the best solution, and people give various answers. Some would say update and restart because you're letting it update, you're letting it, give you all the stuff all the updated requirements and system fixes and all that, and then afterwards you could just, when it's all said and done, proceed where you left off without having to shut it down. While others might say doing it the other way around, update and shut down is better. It's safer, it's better, you know, and it basically keeps your computer running. Well, when I look between the two, I've done update and restart with my regular computer that's in the garage right now, my beast, the tower, if you will. I've done it with that several times, and it does work. There's no doubt. But there have been times where it's kind of been hicked up a little bit. Here, though, with my laptop, and I think I even did this with my previous laptops before they finally bit the dust. But here with my laptop, I've decided that the best option is to go update and shut down for my own personal, experience. Why? Because that way, not only do you allow the computer to do its update, kind of put everything in there that it's required to put in there for the month or for that current update, if you will, at that time. But by letting it shut down and everything, and then letting it rest for maybe, let's say, a half hour, an hour, maybe a couple minutes at the least, if you feel like it, at least you'll know that when you turn it back on, yeah, it'll take a bit to build itself back up after the update, but in a way that your computer more than likely is going to not only run smoother, but you're letting the battery, you're letting the hard drive, you're letting the systems within the circuitry and all that relax. I mean, me, honestly, I've kept my computer on for quite some time over the past several weeks, and nothing really has happened. Nothing really has happened, thank the Lord. But I do know that once in a while I have to let it shut down and update when that time comes around. I mean, yes, they do give you the option to pause it up to a certain amount of days and months, if you will. But when the time comes that you have no choice but to let the update happen, I do acknowledge that the best option for me is to go with the update and the shutdown, and that's what I do. Now, hold on for a second. Yeah, sorry about that. The phone rang again. I don't know who that was. But anyway, like I was saying, basically, you know, I go with the update and the shutdown mainly because one, like I said, it allows the computer to rest a little bit, depending on however long you want to do it. Because like I said, I've had mine on for the past several weeks, you know, without turning it off. And I know some of you might say, well, you need to turn it off and everything or put it into sleep mode. And I have done that in the past, but the only problem is there have been several times when I've done it in the past, over the past few months, that all of a sudden I'll have to do a hard reset on it because all of a sudden as it's trying to load, it'll crash. Like something will come up and say, we can't connect to this, or this is not connecting. So I don't want to deal with that. So I don't want to deal with that basically. So I keep it on, just in case. I keep it on unless something happens. For example, a couple of weeks ago we had a massive storm. It was mostly like, what you see here, or you kind of probably hear here, we have wind, and we had a lot of wind, and it knocked out the power. It knocked out the power to the point that basically my computer was on, and it got knocked out too. Thankfully, I have my computer, as they suggest, as being one of the safest ways to keep it going. I have it plugged into a surge protector. So that that way, if anything like power going out happens, at least I know that if my computer goes out with it, it'll still be fine in the end. Yes, it'll have to rebuild as if it just went through an update, but that's better than nothing. It really is. But for me, I keep it on sometimes because I don't want to deal, with having to turn it off again. And then when I try to turn it back on, all of a sudden I might get this message saying, "Hey, something didn't connect." So I don't want to deal with that. So what I do instead, basically, is I leave it on, and the only time it really rests is when basically the screen goes into standby mode. In other words, it'll still operate, but the screen will go into that blank space like it just went off, but it's mainly standby mode. And for me, honestly, this is the best option to go with. And I know it doesn't really harm it too much, as much as a lot of articles may make it out to be. I know it doesn't really hurt it that much. It just probably makes it work a little harder. But I also noticed that over time, if you just leave it be, like if you start noticing the LED light, the loading LED light flickering a lot, or you're hearing it go like that, it's working. It's loading something, or it's downloading something or uploading something for future use. It's working. So what you need to do basically is just not touch it. Like if you have a mouse connected to it, don't touch the mouse or the touchpad. That way, basically, you could just be like, okay, do your thing, because I don't want to have to deal with, the browser saying not responding, because, I don't want to have to risk maybe it freezing up on me. I mean, the last time it froze up on me, I went on Twitter and it just didn't move after that. But again, getting back on point here, I think the best option overall when you get to the update portion, of your computer that happens every second Tuesday or second Wednesday, whenever you have it scheduled. The best option, in my opinion, is just to go with the update and the shutdown because it's safer. You let the computer do its thing. Thankfully, what it does, and I thank God that Windows fixed this, is basically it updates. It does like an update, like it's going to do the update and restart, and then after it goes through all of that, it does shut down, and it gives your computer plenty of time to rest. Like if you're going to go somewhere after it's done this, you're giving your computer time to rest. I did this, like I said, recently. I did this today. I gave it like 20, 30 minutes to rest. In the past when I've let it update itself when I've been working either at Walmart or Target ever since Windows, implemented the whole update and shutdown thing with the now restart option, where it basically does the update and restart, but then shuts down. I've done numerous times. Numerous times I've done it. I've been at work. I've let it do its thing, and then when I've come home after letting it rest for a while, I turn it back on, let it do its rebuilding phase, and basically let it, kind of, continue its rebuilding, settle itself in, and go from there. And it works perfectly because I'm giving the computer, after it's all said and done, time to rest. But honestly, my option at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, if you want my advice, go with the update and the shutdown, not the update and the restart. Because, update and restart might work, but you're still gonna put strain on your computer keeping it on. Update and shutdown, is the best option to go because it's still gonna do the restart option, but then it's gonna shut down, and then you can let your computer rest, your laptop rest for however long you want, and then you can turn it back on and then keep it on for as long as you want, knowing that, hey, it's been updated, and that once in a while, if the update does show up, and whether or not you want to go through with it or you want to hold off on it, eventually your computer's going to get some rest, when it's all said and done. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it, what to choose. Like, do you want to go update restart or update shutdown? I go update shutdown because I think it's easier, it's better. It gives your computer a little time to rest if you've had it on for quite some time, and then you continue to probably plan to have it on for quite some time because you don't want to deal with, and you want to avoid any potential, oh, there's a connection issue and you have to do a hard restart kind of deal. I'd rather just, keep it on, have it go off if it has to because, of the update and everything, and then turn it back on, give it its time to reconfigure itself, and then go from there, and then let it just, continue from then on in. That's just my this is my opinion. This my what that's just my choice and everything of what I would do. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here, talk about that, kind of give you a little bit of advice, kind of explain, in my opinion, personal point of view, why I would do it. But what do you guys think? What is your choice when you have to deal with the updates, the monthly updates for your Windows or your Macs or Apple servers? What are your thoughts on this? What do you choose? Do you go with update and shutdown? Do you go with update and restart? And if you go with one of them, if not mostly update and shutdown, do you do it to keep your laptop on afterwards, knowing that eventually it's got to go off for that update to occur? Let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below, and I'll talk to y'all later.